on, scrolling.
Oh, hey.
Oh, you're there. You guys finally ready.
Recording.
Right,
I was
go.
taking a little mini nap after my disappointment at the end of the day, the bell, which we'll talk about later.
After the bell.
In fact, you know what? Better. I just want to go. I'm just going to go home. Royce, you got this. All right. Anyway, since you guys are here, welcome to After the Bell. I am Darin Harper, and I am that guy in the bottom of his parents' basement, otherwise known as Ape, and a retail investor who knows nothing about the stock market, evidently. Thanks, Charles Gasparino. And I also have Royce here, which is our CEO and founder. And then we have a special guest this week. I'm sorry, Daniel's off playing around somewhere out east, far east. And
really
we have, yeah. Exactly. Do some foreign exchange while you're out there. And we have Josh. We call him JP Morgan, which we don't like, but it's Josh Morgan. Would you like to introduce yourself now?
Hey,
what do you do? What's your expertise? Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't claim to have an expertise. I am a OG arbitrage user, been around for a long time. And I'm just, I'm here to see how this goes.
Nice. We are so happy to have you. You will actually get to join in our official wager we do every week, whether you're ready or not. And you will represent all future guests because your record will count. So I'm sorry that guest will start out 0-1. So here we go. By the way, did you guys
strong this week?
I got to start it early. So, did you know that today is also Justin Timberlake Day because it's May?
It's gotta be May. Yeah,
it was, and it is. So it came. So he's right again. So let's get started real quick. Let's talk about what just happened at the market close, not the wager yet. Stop it, Royce. But let's talk about what just happened. The tail of the tape when the clock struck 0 at 3:00. What happened? Because we had a FOMC meeting today. We had an interest rate meeting today. I mean, we had everything happening today, which did affect stocks because of what they said and how they jawboned and everything else. But we'll talk about that again. The master manipulators, the Fed. But what do I know? So, Royce,
yes.
What do you know about the close today?
Oh, the close. It was weak. It's been dying. It's been dying for a few weeks now. And based on my charts. And I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I said, take your profit, TikTok, right? And ever since then, we've had lots and lots of volatility. Literally, I've seen the SPY go from like 520 down to 495, back up to 518-ish, and now it's back down to 500 again at the close after this bell, right?
They're yanking it like a yo-yo. Absolutely.
And that's why I want to see where the VIX is, because the last week we had a VIX, 2 weeks ago we had a VIX bet. I want to see if it made it over 17. Typically, I'm off always by a week, so let's see, later if the VIX actually made it to 17 in this holding, because volatility has been nuts the last 3 weeks.
All right, thank you. I know, Josh, you watched it as well because you made comments on it in pre-show that what a great day to do this. Because of all the events that were happening today. So anything you want to add there?
No, it's just it's an interesting week. We've had, you've got most of the big 7 are reporting this week. It's a huge week for, the earnings. Really, we should just go dive into the numbers and look at what happened. Don't listen to me.
All right. So what's happened is
Tesla.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to the Mag 7, which is they call something else now because they're not all participating. But what the Fed did today was they talked about we're not going to go up, big surprise. We're not going to go down, big surprise. And they squashed what was the narrative leading up to now, which was that there might be some rate hikes. And they made sure they wanted to calm everybody down. And that's why we went from red up to pretty green right at the end there as well. And that may be why you won your bet too. But anyway.
It's green to red.
So
right?
Thanks, Powell. Yeah, because Apple did the opposite. So, I mean, we're not going to, again, get into why that all happens too. But basically what the market said is, I don't care what you say, just like usual. Do you think it's going to come down to just yields going out of the roof before these stock markets actually listen. What's going on?
Right. Was that to me or was that to Josh?
Whoever wants to speak up right now and talk.
You go.
All right. I'll go.
Any yield response? Is it just going to be yields now?
Oh, I think so. Like, as long as the Fed will not raise rates, as long as basically they're holding steady, they're trying to see what's happening to inflation. Because previously, a few weeks back, there's like, hey, we might have one decrease, and now they're like, well, we're not going to have an increase, we're not going to have a decrease. They're literally trying to see, basically, they're pulling levers and trying to see if what they've done so far is enough, or if they will have to pull more levers, basically meaning raise interest rate even more, just in case the landing that we're expecting, as everyone's been saying, recession. If your interest rate is not high enough going into a recession, when you go to lower it, you may have to go into negative interest rates, which is what happened to Japan, right? And they have just gotten back to positive. So basically, the Fed is basically walking the line, trying to make sure that they are very careful to not raise it too fast because they don't want to shock the market, and they want to make sure that they do raise it enough so that if a recession does actually take hold, they have enough room to still be positive once all the dust settles.
I think the market's also reacted today because Powell evidently said, I mean, we're working today. We didn't have time to watch the minutes, but from what I'm hearing is that Powell mentioned that they're going to slow down QT now. So
yes,
they went from here all the way up to here. Now they came about halfway down. They're going, oops, we can't go any further because of the crap we've created over the last 3 years. So we're gonna start going back up gradually. And I have seen that in the reverse repos. They've started going right back up again overnight. It's like skirt. I can't afford to go any further down. I have to stop tightening to pump up going into an election. But we're not going to talk about that either.
What are we going to talk about? We're running out of time.
I know. We're just gonna kind of throw it out there and then run. The slowing of the tightening, they were on a $60 billion pace on the slowing, and now they're going to slow that down to about a $25 billion pace.
Quite a slow. Yikes!
That's quite a bit, which means to me that there's a problem. So they're trying to get ahead of that problem. Any more comments there? Anything from you, Josh, or before we move on?
No, I mean, you look at it yes, I mean, the numbers on a surface level, but then there's also a little bit of complication. You're conspiracy nut. You'll appreciate this one a little bit. That it's you complicate it because inflation's not just one thing. I mean, there's inflation, there's stagflation, there's greedflation, there's all kinds of various things that are playing on that. And so it makes it really hard to pinpoint and predict, where we are going forward. And, I don't necessarily envy Powell or anybody in that position, because there's an excessively complicated thing that we've created when we started going through, when the pandemic happened and we added all of that currency, and then we're starting to remove a bunch of currency, and then we're flipping to digital currency. And, and I realize that hit a lot of different topics, but
yes,
it is, because it's not a simple process.
Right. And so I'm trying to, I don't think there's a tier there for Powell. No, that stock is pretty dry. Yeah, that one is too.
Uh-huh.
And Yellen, don't leave out Yellen.
Oh, yeah.
But it's all transitory, right? It's just that transition's 10 years, I think, the way it's
until they're out of office.
Exactly. Let's let everybody else, when I'm out of office, pay for this. But yeah, there is a sticky inflation. That's what's going on. It's just if and I put my hat back on, if you believe the numbers that are being released. So we will move on to the next thing without you responding and saying no, that's not true. We'll go to the TikTok ban. Any comments on that? Have you read anything about it? Basically, what's happened is the Congress got together, and they said that they're going to ban TikTok in a year if they don't sell to a U.S. company. What's that all about?
They're just trying to regain control. I mean, you're trying to separate Chinese control and reposition it. I mean, the same way with Facebook's a U.S. company, and they're going to be doing essentially the exact same thing, but because the U.S. is in control of it in some way, shape, or form, it's suddenly okay.
Yeah, you have to also watch out for propaganda machines, right?
Yeah.
TikTok. If everyone's using TikTok
Ding, ding, ding.
and everyone's using Instagram and everyone's using Threads and everyone's using, basically, it's a way to basically get people talking, and you never know what's true and what's not, especially when you add AI to the mix. You're making AI videos, throwing them on TikTok. Is it true? Of course, everything you see online is true, right? Right?
Of course, it was on the internet. But here's the thing. I have a problem with pointing out TikTok, and I understand their origins, but are you trying to tell me that the same thing doesn't happen with Facebook and Instagram and everything else?
Of course it does,
And
though.
and
But
so
you
No, it absolutely does. I mean, just look at
well,
what
my
happened.
view. Yeah, go ahead.
I would just say, a longtime Reddit user, you can obviously relate. The narrative really shifted when they, were majority Chinese backed now, and that happened like a couple of years ago. And you see like the politics and like the subtext and all the bots that popped up. And I mean, I would be willing to bet that half the accounts on there right now are not real humans. They're all bots, and it's all what can they use to gain that control and just slowly, kind of like using almost like a subliminal messaging of sorts, where if you just kind of slowly pepper things in there, then they're going to really, you'll find yourself believing them without actually realizing that you believe them.
Yes, but I think that happens across all the platforms, and I think they're pinpointing TikTok because it actually gave more freedom of speech, just like they're pinpointing Elon and X. And heading into an election, they're worried that the wrong message will get out there, the wrong narrative. And then let's put all that aside. I got my hat on, and put all that aside. We've got the fact that
it's pointy this week.
Yo, it's real pointed, feisty and peppery today.
I was saying, you picked a good week for this. It's there's a lot going on.
But you don't think there's money involved here? Let's look at where everybody's invested, right? I mean, all the funds are invested in Facebook, Meta. They're all in the competitors. That's where all their money is. So if we can eliminate TikTok, then that's going to bring.
You'll never eliminate them, but you can basically curb them or discourage them. But they did the same thing to Tesla, right? They did the exact same thing to Tesla. But then Tesla's like, hey, we're gonna join with these guys, and then they have like a 30% rise in a week or so.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Basically, you pepper the underdog, make no one want it, and then buy up as much of it as you can.
Yes, or get out of your shorts as easier. All right, Royce, let's change the subject here and talk about the yen and the dollar. Bank of Japan just keeps fighting it. So what's going on here lately?
It's beautiful. So like basically from my standpoint as an economist and basically watching the different economies emerge, it's great to see like when someone pulls a lever like, hey, you can no longer back this by cryptocurrency. Well, there are reserve currencies that are in the world. Like you have the yen, you have the British pound, the euro, the US dollar. When countries get scared, they go run to these reserve currencies, right? And for the longest, like almost 4 years, Japan has been getting dogged. I mean, buried. Like it went where basically it was up over 100 plus points. So it's like 60 something yen to a single US dollar, right? Or vice versa. I think, that's about right. 60 something yen to a US dollar. I mean, it's horrible, right? So when you say you can no longer back something by one currency, you flee and you try to find the cheapest place to get in to basically hide your money because your money gets a bigger bang if it's already getting beaten up. That means it has the opportunity to also improve as other people buy it as they are also fleeing, right? So we saw Japan about 4 or 5 days ago, the versus British pound versus New Zealand versus Australia versus the euro skyrocket. Basically, they almost sucker punched Japan about 4 or 5 days ago. But then they had this legislation that says, okay, you can no longer back these things by cryptocurrency. And oh, look, here comes Japan, rising for everything that was punched. Its sucker punch bounced back and pushed pushed those guys further down than they were before they even got sucker punched. So I'm loving this. So basically, the narrative that I've been playing with for about a year and a half was we needed to see the yen progress faster than the dollar, outpace the dollar, so that way the dollar and the yen, probably for the first time in history, will both be moving up at the same time.
Right. And is there inflation in the future or no? For Japan?
No. Actually, no. I think it will stabilize a lot of things because Japan has been getting beaten up so much and basically no one wanted it. It makes it basically it makes the game fair now, because as basically it equalizes the two, right? Dollar is way up, yen is way down. Let's make those guys even and let them both rise, but the yen has to just outpace the dollar just by a little to allow them both to rise.
That sounds like manipulation in a plan. I don't know. But you know where I live.
It might be, but hey, it only costs 25 cents to ride the ride. So let's ride.
That's how you play it. That's right. That's right. It's getting on the ride and riding along. All right. Before we move on to the Mag 7, anything else on the yen from you there, Josh?
No, I mean, Forex is not my strong suit, but
gotcha.
I will say just anecdotally, one of the things that if you just look at the charts, like going back, the whole COVID lockdown, Japan was one of those places that extended it much longer, like travel bans and lockdowns and things like that. Japan and China are two that extended it way more and for an extended period of time, considerably more than any other country. And you kind of see a parallel there as far as, particular trading, if those particular dollars and pairs really, because it was almost March or May of 2023, I think, before they actually opened fully to where you could even get on a plane and head to Japan.
Yeah, wow. So we actually may get a delayed response, and
that's what I'm saying. Like kind of the same way that Australia, they were seemingly, and I know this because I know several Australians, and they were almost exactly a year behind us. And you can see, if you look at the charts, like those things lag in almost an exact parallel.
Nice.
So, hey, that maybe might be in a boom for the yen in the near future. Let's go yen.
All right. We specialize in Forex, don't we, Royce?
Oh, yeah. We love
Well, we are not financial advisors.
And butter.
Financial advisors. We do not give financial advice, but we have a really fun tool that has 12 algorithms that is pretty darn accurate. And that's we're going to move on now to the Mag 7, which for those that don't know, Tesla, Meta, Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon, NVIDIA, and yes, I have a cheat sheet. It wasn't off the top of the head. I could have made you feel that way, but it's
like, he's just rallying.
Man, he's all over it, isn't he?
You didn't have to tell us. You could have just rolled with
it. I know, but it's more fun to say, hey, I know. Plus, I also have since their earnings opening day, where they've gone to today. That was near closing. So Tesla's plus 30%. Meta's down 12%. Alphabet plus 10%. Microsoft down 1.5%. Microsoft and Amazon both, strangely, up 1.5%. And then Apple is tomorrow. And then NVIDIA is not till May 22nd. So we have 3 weeks for that. And so that means we'll hear jawboning about NVIDIA endlessly for 3 weeks. Ugh. So you guys got anything to say about the Mag 7?
I like Fang better.
They're going to have to reword this anyway, because the Mag 7, I think I've heard Fabulous 5. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
It's whatever the media wants to come up with to do their narratives. So anything that kind of jumps out to you there? I mean, you already talked about Tesla, how it jumped up. So we've already been there. Meta going way down.
I thought the reaction to the Tesla earnings was kind of interesting. More specifically, where they guidance was okay. Earnings were not great, but for some reason there was something about when they talked about offering like additional cheaper options, and how Tesla is kind of pushing this near price war as far as EVs are concerned. Unlike like a Lucid or Rivian or something like that are doing these super exclusive high-end models. They're starting to push these lower end models like what you have over in in the Asian countries. And it was just, I thought that was kind of an interesting reaction for guidance to be mid, for earnings to be they missed on both, and yet there was something about that the market liked about that particular that particular announcement that, hey, we're going to start doing we're going to lower prices and offer some cheaper options. And to me, just the numbers that just doesn't really make sense to me. Why you would
it never happens. What do you mean that never happens in the market?
But Josh, think about this, right? What about the fact that about 2 weeks prior, they're like, hey, we're letting 10,000 people go. What does that do to your bottom line?
I get that, but that was 2 weeks ago. Why?
So basically, there's like there's change. There's enough change going on in their ecosystem. Maybe they're like, okay, well, maybe the next one they won't miss because they have 10,000 less miles to feed.
I guess, but if you look at what Elon did with Twitter, he came in, or X, excuse me. What he did with that is came in and fired everyone, and yet he drove the valuation of that into the ground. It's lost, I want to say like 70% of what it was what he bought it for.
Oh yeah. But I think when there's something that he said he basically wanted no salary, he wanted nothing, but if he met certain numbers, they would give him like a huge, like 56 billion, something, an extraordinary number. And then he did it, and now I'm like, wait, no, we can't do that. We can't do that.
They're going back now for that.
Went down, he was still able to do what he promised going in. So, while it's bad, it's good, but sometimes bad is good in the market.
Or they're just, maybe it was over with and, they just removed uncertainty, because that's always you get some strange reactions off things like that when you remove uncertainty, because the market has uncertainty.
That's why election years are so much fun, because they're like, okay, is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? Typically, the anticipation of a new president or a continuing of the same political party in office or a change of political party basically makes lots of fireworks. You remember when Trump got in office that night, market tanked. Following day, through the roof, or as they say, to the moon for those, those guys out there.
And then the November before, it was either October, November before, when Biden was announced, it was, it smoothed out and shot up. And again, a lot of uncertainty was removed and everybody reacted accordingly.
Yeah. I also remember the knee-jerk reaction when they're like, Hillary was exonerated by the FBI right before the election. And it basically was like, whoa, yes. I'm like, but she's not president yet. Why? What? Okay.
And of course, we have the whole DJT trial going on now. So the timing of that and when he's exonerated or not, or whatever's going to happen there, or we're going to start a world war so that we can't change presidents. Whatever happens is going to obviously move the markets. And you wonder if it's the markets leading the events or the events leading the markets. I will reserve my comments and what I believe on that.
Have you reserved those? I don't think you reserved 90.
I think I've let them leak out a little bit, maybe out of this side of the mouth. I don't know. I have no opinion. Yeah, I do.
The scary part about it is I can convince we're going to find out a lot of that is true.
Yeah. Well, like I said, my 10 hats have been now graduation hats with tassels. I just have more tassels.
But tassel just says, turn it. All right, we're done.
It's more like this.
Wait, there are 2 tassels? Hold on.
That's right. I need
That's
to order
nice
more
trick,
tassels,
Darin.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next portion of our show, and that is when Royce gets to get out his little elementary grade crayons and mark on charts. So let's bring up that cute little, you see it right now, your little graphic, and then we will come back to Royce with, it looks like SMCI is what I see on the screen.
Yes, Super Microcomputers Inc. It's been such a beautiful ride. Some people have been saying, like literally, at the very beginning of February, I had even some of my clients, they go like, hey, we're going to ride this guy. This guy's going to be $2,000 before the end of the year. and they bought at 1100. And I'm like, are you sure? Do you see my crosses? Do you see everything is saying you should be leaving? You shouldn't be here. By the way, in the arbitrage system, those crosses means we're very near out of probability and it should be turning around fairly soon. So they're like, well, no, it's just going to keep on going. I'm like, okay. And that Z also means that we completely ran out of probability. So I mean, that's a cool off just a little bit. Typically, once you see a Z, you see a fall. Even if it's a little fall, once you see a Z, you see a fall. So now it's been falling, and roughly March 18th, it finally got back inbound. So basically, there's a bell curve that makes up our bands in our system. And basically, when you go out of the system, you can only tempt probability for so long before you have to come back in to reality. Well, this is on the daily time frame. So roughly since the 18th of March, it's literally been doing a mean reversion and making lower highs coming in. And guess what? It doesn't look like it's going to get any better. From that 1140 valuation that we saw, it actually looks like it made all the way up to 1240 even. From that roughly 1240 valuation to where we are, it's lost about $500 so far, and doesn't look like it's going to get any better because guess what? We have something in our system called our orbit line, and the orbit line is like sort of like a canary in a cave, right? It lets us know that basically the trend has gone so far that now basically if it dies, so will you. So what we're seeing here that this today, this last drop that dropped us down to 438 tripped another sell window that's just about to begin. The first conservative sell for the system. So for everyone who rode from the conservative entry, roughly about 249, you had a heck of a ride if you were just riding from triangle to triangle. Well, that ride is now over and looks like it's time to pay the piper. But there is just a little bit of hope. I'm not going to be complete doom and gloom while we're on these charts. It does seem to have support. Oh, not this time. It does seem to have support somewhere around 616. So only about a 50% haircut. No biggie, right? So if it is able to hold around that 609.12 area, there's a good chance that it will play between that 609 to 863 area over the next 3 or so months. So right now, because of where we are, to get back to even have the support that we need to basically stay in a buy trend or recapture that buy trend, it has to get back over 867. So that's the magic number that we're looking for. If we can't get there, it is curtains. Notice the arbitrage band says, yes, we are there, and there is a lot more to go. Basically, until this guy gets over 70% in our Z Pro indicator, it is steady as she goes, and down we go. Notice also, if you're asking the smaller time frames, 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, 30, 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hours, notice all of their lower supports are in the 600-ish area. No one is in 700 area, but this is where we are right now. So look out below SMCI. It is about to get ugly. That's all I got, guys.
All right. Thank you, Royce. That was, of course, you were using the 12 algorithms on that chart. And so 600, boy, that's even more of a drop. So if you if you're interested in that, in our algorithms, it's arbitragetrade.com. If you want to look deeper into that and dig into our algos, and we call that guy Pips, which is the little guy you see on the bottom right of your screen. That's our little mascot, Pips, not the guy in the middle. The guy named Royce in the middle is not our mascot. It's the guy on the right at the bottom.
I'm a cheerleader. I'm not a mascot.
His name is Creator and cheerleader. All right, let's go ahead and move on to, or do we have to? Last thing.
The beautiful,
right.
beautiful.
I've got a sad story. If I could
literally
play
Saved
like
by the Bell.
If I could, I needed to be saved by the bell, but I was not. I was actually just totally destroyed right at the end of the bell. And if I had some dirge music or some funeral music, I would insert it here.
I can play taps for you if you like.
I'll bet you would love to. So,
and I watched it happen like right at 2:59.
So even the new guys coming in, just rubbing it in, talking about, because Daniel, who's off playing around in Asia, he had picked, which I call affectionately Bitcoin Applehead. His range was basically above 175, and I had picked the middle, which is the smallest channel, 170 to 75. And then Royce said, okay, I'll take below that. So anything below 169.99, he wins. And so all day long, it sat right at 172.50, which is like, I couldn't be any more perfect with my pick because that's right in the middle of the middle. And I was just solid. In fact, I had already started celebrating and stuff. And yeah. And then it had to have been 15 minutes before the bell. All of a sudden, it just started going down.
Yeah, I brought up my chart about an hour before, and I'm like, let's go to the 10-second chart. Let's see if it drops across that line.
And why does he care that much? Why would he look at the chart?
I had to call a few friends, say, hey, I need you to short this right now.
No, that's Daniel. That's Mr. X Wealth Investor. Yeah. So the scoreboard now looks like what you actually, now we got to add another one. So Royce is going to be at 3-2 to 1 now. And that makes me mad and sad. So I have another week to try to redeem myself. And we have a guest who we're now going to start adding a line to that scorecard, and it's going to be guest, and they're going to be just all the same line. So to start off, do you know what you want to pick? Or if not, then we could go. Royce actually won, so he's supposed to pick. But if not, then we could defer to the guest and whatever they want to pick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've looked into. Well, I mean, I looked into Royce's pick. I've had all of 10 minutes to look into it, so I can take a stab. I can take a shot in the dark, or
yeah, go for it, man.
We can look at I know there's some something a little bit more topical. They're declassifying all of these, declassifying marijuana to a Schedule 3 drug.
Oh, okay.
So that might affect the market a little bit if we want to look at like Altria or Tilray or something like that.
Yeah, give me a symbol.
Okay.
MO.
Okay. All right. $43 stock. All right.
Or actually, I tell you what, I'll give you a bonus. I'll call both of them. Let's see.
It's up to 43.
It's up to 43. This is beautiful.
You can call both, but only one has to count.
I love this chart, though.
You'll have to pick one, though, for the purposes of this wager thing.
Okay, so all right. So from what I see to define the range, right? Looks like it has support somewhere around $39 to about $41. 39 to 41 is where it has heavy support. So as long as it can stay above that number, basically we should be good. It looks like it has top out range on this guy somewhere near about $48. So that means anywhere from 39 to 48. That's the range we're going to be playing with this week.
Okay. With the probability being 39 to 41?
The probability being 39 to 48.
Okay. All right. So we like to space these out, Josh, to be kind of fair. Of course, whoever's in the middle, their channel is going to be like this, and then the others have the end pieces.
So it's roughly we got about $3.50-ish per person.
So,
$3 to $3.
Okay, so
yeah,
Royce, you are first. You wanted to be fair, so at the last freaking minute. But I'm
actually going to be with Josh on this one. This chart looks beautiful.
Okay.
So I want, if I could, let's say I'm going to do 44 to 47.
Okay.
How much? Like, I guess what's my?
You got about $3 wiggle room.
You can pick. No, he's got more than that. You can pick above 47 or below 44. It's simple. We do the ends.
Above 47 or below 44. Okay.
Yes. Oh, come on. You know you want over 47. You're going to force me.
I do. But man, that 5-minute chart,
it's whatever it closes at next Wednesday. So
that RSI wasn't curving just, I mean, there, ooh.
Right. I see what you're looking at on the 5 minutes.
Won't even be here to see
what you're looking at, Josh.
I'm going to go over 47.
You're going to go over 47.
Lock it in.
I had a feeling, which forces me below 39.99 and below. All right. I'll accept
I'm just seeing a lot of support.
I have the lowest probability, I think.
and we've got a couple of dollars. If you look at the daily, we've got a couple of bucks between for compass and momentum start to hit RSI, and then a little bit of resistance. But a lot of things are saying a continuation on that trend.
I'm definitely seeing continuation on my side. So
yeah,
yes.
Well, it has been done. It is etched in history. That's what the wagers are. And we will celebrate you not winning next Wednesday when you're not here. Although he might be coming back. He might be coming back.
He might be coming back. Just
depends on Daniel. How long he plays in Asia, I guess. All right.
Hey,
I appreciate everybody coming in.
Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Square. It's down was over there. Yeah, I don't. Thanks for coming in, though, Joshua. Appreciate you filling in. You did it very well, and we will do this again next Wednesday after the bell.